Hi, and welcome to Coach's Corner, where systems matter and both personal and professional learning and development is beneficial for everyone and essential for some. As always, please like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit the notification bell. Let's get started.
Yeah, the whole thing.
So I just would start. Hey, what do you guys know about sleeping? Little Joe, little friend, I'm writing on the board, or you used to have a kid write it. Get them involved as much as you can. Or I would say, hey, turn to your partner and talk about sleeping. Or hey, group up in groups of 4, talk about sleep. Whatever. Make it. It's the same thing. Yeah. But make it look differently, right? So when we used to run our blast, it would look exact. It's the exact same play. We'd run it in 17 different formations. Yeah. Right, because that's confusing for the people. Yeah. So it's not confusing for them, but it makes it like, oh, this is fun. Like it's different, right? So. And what was the question again? Because I had a lot to say.
Sleeping about.
Yeah. So I'd say, what do you guys know about sleeping? And however, it's going to get on the board. Okay. And I'm going to say, oh, okay, cool. So I stated the objective. We're going to talk about sleeping. Yeah. Prior knowledge. What do you know about it? And then I'm going to go into my demonstration or my teaching, my instruction. Okay. Well, what about side sleeping? What about back sleeping? What about, right? And then we would talk about that. We would say, so what's the advantage of putting the peanut butter and the jelly on the same side? Is there really one? No, because you're going out, whatever. What's the advantage? But maybe taste it is. Maybe not only is it peanut butter and jelly, but if you flip it and you taste the jelly first, right? So there's variations of this. So I say, okay, what's the best? I don't know. Turn to your neighbor and ask them what they think. Well, I think back sleep. Well, it depends. I don't know. If you're a pregnant mom, stomach sleeping probably ain't very good. No. Right? So you would just talk with them and the variations. And again, how will that be in the real world? Right. Right? And you would go make a connection for them. Well, do you have any little brothers? Yeah. Was your mom pregnant? Yeah. Go ask her if she ever slept on her belly. Right. Probably she did. I don't know. Maybe that was the most comfortable thing for her. Yeah. Right? If you sleep on your back, you got hemorrhoids, maybe it doesn't feel too comfortable. Yeah. If you got a goiter on your butt, I don't know. Right. But we would talk about that. And then we would say, let's practice. So then they would go and I said, lay down on your side, lay down on your back. Okay, put your hands here. Put your hands here. Yeah. Put your hand right. Okay, now lay on your side. Then we'd say, what's more comfortable? Right. What's more comfortable for you? So we'd share out. So then we'd say, okay, go practice these 5 different whatevers. Back, tummy, whatever, blah, blah, whatever. And so then I do a teachable moment. Ready, hit, that's attention getter, instantly quiet. I'd say, hey, we said, Gordo over here, make a little joke, a little fat boy over here. He looked like he's pregnant, or I'd usually say it about myself because it would hurt their feelings. But I'm like, look, I'm basically pregnant. Yeah. I'm sleeping on my stomach just fine, which I could not, by the way. It ain't comfortable, right? But anyway, so you would go through this. Well, what about covers? What about a nice bed? What about la? Because a lot of these kids didn't have a bed, so we would and I knew that, so we would talk about how can you do that. Well, what about your clothes? Fluff your clothes around. What about, can you get a trash bag from your teacher who's got shredded up paper and sleep on that? Right. So we would just, what I mean? We try to make it practical and pragmatic for them. So then we go through that, and then we would go to the last part, review. This is what I think is most important. And then we'd reflect, what do you think? And we'd make sure we'd make the connection for them. Like, you don't have to raise your hand on this, but do any of you not have a bed? Well, what are some things you can do from this lesson? Right? Yeah. Yeah, stuff like that. So, well, what if you don't have blankets? Well, maybe you sleep real close to your brother, body warm. Yeah. Just stuff. And so we would just really always trying to figure out how does it work in the real world. Right. Make it practical.
Got it. And so now moving to the academic piece of it. What is, how would that look professionally? Or, carrying professionalism.
Well, heck, man. Oh, and professionalism? Yeah. Or professionally?
Professionalism, right? Yeah, professionalism.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I mean, to me, everybody says it's knowledge. That's the most important. And I say, no, it's know-how. Mm-hmm. But you have to have some knowledge. Mm-hmm. So you have to be professional. You have to know your stuff. Right. So if I put somebody out there who knows zero about the Nifty 9, and they have 10 years of experience, and I put somebody with 1 year of experience and they know the Nifty 9, they're going to wipe the street with that other person. Probably. Right. maybe not in all cases, but probably.
Okay.
Right? So sometimes experience trumps all.
Yeah.
But I didn't say just somebody who has the knowledge there.
Right.
Right? Being professional, which is to make sure you have the knowledge so that you can go out and teach in the correct way. Mm-hmm. Right? So if we talked about a jiu-jitsu guy.
Yeah.
No real training, but he's been doing it for 10 years. Well, he may beat the guy that only has the knowledge in 1 year, but he may not too.
Right.
Because he knows how to get out of this hand or this hold, this lock, this whatever. And this guy probably knows some things. He could probably figure it out.
Yeah.
But he may know 17 things because he learned on his own. This person may know 117 things, but really focus only on 5. And these 5 are way more important than these 17. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So professional which is I thought where you're going, but that's where I'd go anyway on that, is know your stuff.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
No, you got to know your stuff.
And then be able to say, if you don't, hey, let me find someone that does.
Absolutely, right? I mean, if you don't know your stuff, then you shouldn't be doing it anyway. Yeah. I mean, at some level, everybody has to go, well, how do I get experience until I get that?
Yeah.
But you can do some thinking about it and some knowledge and, be thoughtful and take ownership and maybe a little studying or maybe not, but it's something, and then be thoughtful and take ownership while you're doing it and come back and say, how can I be better the next day?
Right, got it. And so now we're let's say doing math, and the 6th graders having trouble with algebra 1. I don't know if they're doing 6th graders, but they're doing algebra 1.
I don't know. You lost me at algebra.
And they're clearly frustrated and they're acting out because they can't figure out this math.
Right.
So do you resort to behavior guidance or positive discipline? Where do you go from there?
Well, the first thing I would do is I think you hit the center of the problem. I always say let's chop the bottom of the weed, the root, right?
Yeah.
And so the frustration or the lashing out, it has nothing to do. I don't need to guide their behavior. I need to teach them how to do this correctly.
Got it.
So if I don't have time, then I go get the smartest kid in class and we go peer to peer.
Got it.
Let him teach you, right, along the way. And I'd already taught those kids in a separate spot, the ones that were the best at whatever, best at the sport, how to teach.
Yeah.
Not do it for them, but how to teach them, right?
Yeah.
How to be patient, how to, different ways. So they'd already know, up front.
Okay.
So, but if that did not work, then we go guide their behavior. And depending on if I'm working with the whole class, I can't stop and do whatever. So I go walk up on them, proximity.
Right.
If somebody else, I used to I used to always have my little teacher assistant, a little coach, little Z.
Yeah.
Is that possible?
Yeah.
And I would say, hey, you're on. And I would walk out and they would have to just take over wherever we were at in holistic instruction, and they'd go through it.
Yeah.
And I'd teach them, if you get stuck, just go to the debrief or, whatever.
Yeah.
And I'd take the kid outside or I'd go work with them one-on-one or whatever.
Yeah.
But usually in those cases, I like the way you ask the question and frame the question, because it's not about guiding their behavior in positive discipline.
Yeah.
They're frustrated because they don't know.
Right.
Right? And that's frustrating, right?
Yeah.
If you didn't know how to go to the restroom, that's frustrating.
Yeah.
If you didn't know how to wipe your rear end and your butt's itching, that doesn't feel too good, right? So I think I like the way you frame that. But if I had to go in, it'd be the same way I do positive discipline or behavior guidance for either one.
Right.
It doesn't matter. That would be all the same. Proximity, or you're on a timeout, go think about this, or, whatever the case may be. If I didn't have a kid in there because they were the smartest, then I would either send them to another room and have them just chill out, or I'd bring in the high school kids that were smart enough to teach them.
Right.
So, we always had something where we could help the kids to achieve whatever they're trying to achieve, because, who wants to be frustrated? Nobody.
No,
it sucks.
Yeah. And then, so now the second one, this is similar question. So frustrated, but not because of math, not because they had a bad day, but because something happened at home.
Yeah.
How would you deal with something like that, because you probably don't know right then and there. It takes time to uncover that.
Yeah. So I would know.
Okay.
But it's because I did a lot of work up front. I'll tell you a very sad story. So, my first year actually teaching. So I had worked with this group as a permanent sub before I got my job for special day.
Yeah.
And you've heard this story before. It'll break your heart. So we had this kid named Miguel, he was 8th grader. And super smart at math, but he's a special day kid. He can't read. I think he's from maybe Mexico or something. And he just didn't learn the language, right?
Yeah.
And so he used to sit with his head down, and I don't care. And you know how Bakersfield, I think it's 110.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. He'd have his hoodie over his head, and he just would sit there. And they told me before I started teaching him, you can't get through to him. Yeah, that's a bad thing to say to me. I even if you didn't say that, I'm gonna get through to you. I had another kid that they said that with that had epileptic seizures.
Yeah.
And they said, "Oh, she didn't talk to me." I go, "Oh, okay." But anyway, getting back to Miguel. So, and all the kids were like, "What do you have to do home?" I go, "I'm sorry. Is that your desk?" Yeah. Well, then that's where you need to keep your brain out. Miguel got nothing to do with you. So what I did over time, so you asked the question, how would you intervene? Yeah. Well, again, I try not to intervene.
Yeah.
So I'd go up and I'd just slap him like that. I'd just walk away. I wouldn't say nothing else. And so the only assignment that he would do is a little math. And so I'd give him a big old smiley face, or I'd always praise him, whatever. Yeah. And I just would keep by, and I would I'd mumble to him, "You're a winner." Yeah. It gets me teary-eyed. Yeah. But I just kept on, and so after about 90 days, he speaks. He didn't speak to anybody, nobody. He didn't talk to anybody, and he goes, "I need to talk to you." I'm like. I'm looking under the table, I'm like, who's the ventriloquist throwing their voice, right? And he said, I thank you for what you're doing, in very broken English. I said, "Oh, yeah, I care about you, man." And I said, what's going on, if you don't mind me asking? Yeah. This will break your heart, man. So he's the oldest of like 5 siblings. Yeah. His grandfather brings him into a room with the 5 right in front, just like we're doing right here, the audience, puts a shotgun in his mouth and pulls the trigger in front of those kids. Yeah, and I'm like, so we don't know what's going on in other people's heads. So for him to just be there was winning in my mind. Yeah. And I didn't know what the story was, but I knew there's something. Yeah. And so by the end, he wound up actually going into RSP, which is a step up from Special Day, because he was a smart kid.
Right.
But he was messed up. He's effed up. How would you be? Yeah. So, and he's the oldest. It's bad enough with young men. He had to help his siblings. He didn't know how to respond to this, so he just put on the hoodie and did his thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy.
Worse than crazy.
So now we're going to move into closing.
Yeah.
We'll start with the debrief. Mm-hmm. Obviously you're closing already.
Yeah.
So it kind of worked out.
It's perfect. Yeah. You're hitting them right. You're clicking them in the right spots. Yeah. We would always, before we started the true close of the games or different things, we would get them all circled up. Mm-hmm. Remember, now this was probably the 15th form of some sort of a debrief or a review or reflection or thumbs up, check it, something. Yeah. And then we would say, now let's go through this. So let's look at your whole day. It doesn't have to be after school day. It could be your whole instructional day or from the time you left. What was your key learning or learnings today? Okay. At least pick one of those, and how will you use that learning in your personal life? How will you use it in your professional life? And we would do that, and then we'd be like, okay, go do your thing. Right, then they go grab Connect 4, chess, or play music in the corner, whatever, kind of unwind for the day. Yeah. But we always did that at least once. Right. And we tried to do it at least twice. We would debrief in the opening about the instructional day, and then we would debrief at the end. Got it. But we would do, like kind of what I used to say with sales, the tie downs, get to a lot of little yeses. We do a lot of little debriefs that didn't take thumbs up, down, or whatever doesn't take. Turn to your partner and tell them what you learned. Oh, blue shirt on, that doesn't take very long.
Got it. And then line of sight, that was managing the environment, correct?
I count that. It could be, but it's more safety.
Okay, safety. So then with safety, with closing, is that, I don't want to say the most time you need to be safety awareness, but because it's closing, everything, parents are coming in, they grab the wrong kids, stuff like that, or how does that work?
Yeah, I would say a little bit, but we were hypersensitive to anything that had to do with safety.
Okay.
You know, right? Because, you know, we had a few things go bad at some times. I mean, I take that back. We did not, but when we were out consulting, you know, a couple kids that, you know, got lost or were smoking marijuana on the deal, or just, you know, it happens. But it happened. My wife's been, you know, 30 something years. It's happened, you know, to her. She runs the preschools, the daycares, and some other programs. It's happened to her too. I mean, you know, they're kids. You can't get them all. No. But you put checks and balances in place to ensure that doesn't happen. Yeah. But for us, we were kind of hypersensitive, especially when we were consulting, because a lot of that was in lower socioeconomic areas, and there are bad people out there. Right. So we wanted to make sure that we were always hypersensitive. The other part of that at night, depending on the time of the year, is dark.
Right.
You know, like right now it's light and, you know, whatever, because of daylight savings. But that was another reason why safety probably was a little bit tougher at night. And what you said, you know, people coming in and, you know, and then we had to get in the middle of a lot of this. The dad wasn't on the release form. He'd just show up. I'm taking my kid. I'm like, no, you're not. Right. Well, what do you mean? Yeah, then you got a guy who's, you know, 6'5" and, you know, looks like he plays for the Oilers or something. And do they have the Oilers? Whoever the new team is. I guess the Oilers for hockey. Yeah, I was thinking the Houston Oilers back in the day. You know, I mean, you know, has a few more tattoos than you do or whatever. You know, and probably seen a little prison time. Yeah. And, you know, he's like, oh, it's my kid. I'm like, whatever, dude. Yeah. Good luck to you, because that ain't happening. Right? And so we had little things, broken record or whatever, but, you know, there was times we had to physically restrain some dudes. Yeah. What am I going to do? I don't care about you as the parent. I care about that kid. Right. Yeah, that's my deal. And we had to get in the breakup, you know, full on, you know, moms and dads fist fighting and all kinds of stuff, dude. Yeah. So, but I like the way you frame that, because that's maybe a little more heightened sense of safety. But for us, that was a big deal to us anyway. Yeah.
And then as you're closing out, parents are coming. If you, let's say, have had to positive discipline a kid, you know, 3 times in a row, or, you know, something's not right, do you then go and talk to the parent as a phone call, or no, you wait for them to show up? How would you deal with them like that?
You know, it's a great question, and we varied it. Because, you know, so first of all, we called every parent several times before at the beginning of the year, before anybody ever got in trouble. So I'll give you an example. So it's my first year teaching, and I call my 16 special day kids' parents. And as you can imagine, every phone call that they've had, you know, bad, terrible, right? My kids. So call one. Surprised they answered the phone. Hi, this is Mr. Zanis, blah, 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 whatever. They go, what'd he do? I didn't even get out like barely my name. What'd he do wrong? Oh, I don't know what he did wrong. I was just here to tell you what he did right. Huh? They said, what did you just say? I said, well, I don't know what they did wrong, but I wanted to tell you what a great job they did. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So now I'm building a relationship with them. Right. Or when we used to sit at the special day meetings, it would go, you know, usually a single parent. Yeah. And then it would go suit, double suit, power dress, you know, whatever. Meaning psychologist, speech pathologist, principal, you know, whatever, right? And then there's me. Yeah. Right? And so...
Just like this?
Yeah, in shorts, right? And I'm like... So I was looking... You know, I always try to look at things differently. And I'm like... I wonder how they feel. Probably not real good. Yeah. So I used to kick it with them. I'd go on their side. And I'd look at all those guys like it's me and you. So now I'm developing this relationship with these parents in a positive manner. Yeah. So then it didn't matter whether I called them or it was there or whatever. Yeah. But I would have rather have called them not knowing if that was the best time than when they came here and it was a bad time, because then they don't want to come and enjoy the closing and stuff like that. Yeah. But I mean, you know, is there ever a good time to tell anybody bad news? Probably not. No. But I had done, and we had done as a group, enough positives to where they were like, cool, this isn't like this teacher, like every other teacher, being a jackass or a donkey to my kid. They're just wanting the best because, you know, they've already told me 14 positive things. Now they're saying something that's a concern.
If you need to contact Brett or Coach, please do so on his social media accounts, email, and or text. You can find that information in the description below. Again, please like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit the notification bell. Thanks, and we hope you enjoyed.
My hands are sweaty, I'm sweaty.